in early 1700s, there's this person, there's a Scottish evangelist, pastor, who by the name of Andrew Bell, who is sent to Madras, to the British colony of Madras. Now, Madras, it is the center where a lot of these orphans of British officers and soldiers are left behind. And these officers have abandoned these children and gone back to England. And there is a Madras male asylum, which is in Egmore, Madras. And this was, it was a fortification which the British used, this building, against the French. And then they won the war against the French. And so this building was then repurposed to house this asylum for these orphan children, mainly boys, only boys. Now, it was called the Madras Male Asylum. Now, this Madras Male Asylum had all these British boys, the Anglo-Indian boys, who were abandoned, and they were unruly, poorly behaved. They could not be educated, and the British wanted to do. And the numbers were increasing, and so the British wanted to do something for their children, because they were also their children. So they send this guy, Andrew Bell. Now, Andrew Bell is a pastor, and he has a stint in America, where he's a private tutor for some rich Virginia, colony farmer, some family. He was a private tutor. He finishes that stint and he goes back to Scotland. And then the British Army says, you go to Madras and you do something about this. You go give them Bible education.
Okay.
Maybe that'll fix them. So Andrew Bell comes to Madras and to the Egmore Madras Male Asylum, and he sees these boys and he thinks they have no hope. He just cannot manage them. The staff there is really untrained and nobody listens to anybody. There's just chaos everywhere. And he's troubled by this. He tries to bring in some character building through Bible education. It's not going anywhere and he's frustrated. So he's walking up and down the seashore and he stumbles on a Malabar school. Yeah. So those days in all over India, you had these Thinnai schools where on the front portico there'll be a teacher teaching. You have a village school master teaching many kids like that. So he observes a Malabar school where the children are writing on sand, and there are there's the older kid teaching a younger kid to write, and then they wipe out and they learn to write. And it's a very calm environment. The children are quietly learning from each other, receptive, focusing. And he starts observing this daily, and then he goes further and further and starts observing many more local schools. And he figures out that most of these village schools in India, there's one village school master, and there are 200 children, and they're all educated. In fact, in the 1700s, there are German missionaries who come and who write in their journals that one thing which is amazing about India is over 95% of the people are literate and educated. Whereas in Europe, only the very rich, very elite could afford education. It was not for the masses. So anyway, so he looks at it and he starts observing these village school masters, and he realizes that they use something called the monitorial system, what he calls a monitorial system, where the teacher teaches the top students and those top students teach the ones below, and so on. And that way the entire class of 100 people are educated in small groups, right? So he starts taking these ideas, and he starts taking these ideas of memorization, the Kantasti Karanam, all of that, right? How he sees that they learn so fast, the tables. In fact, Indian schools used to have 1/3 tables, 1/2 tables, like that, not just 1, 2, 3, 4. That fractions also they had tables. So he starts taking these ideas and starts implementing them, and voila, eureka, he goes back, he spends 10 years perfecting this system, and he calls it the Madras Monitorial System. Okay, where he has monitors in class, who are children who are top, and then they teach the other kids, and then all the teachers, the kids learn, like we talked about, how they learn from peers very easily. They are all attentive. He says this system is so good that even Bible education did not build their character as much as this system did. So he says this is even better than the Bible, in fact, as far as character building is concerned, because all the children are focused, they're responsible, they're eager to please their teacher, and he got rid of all his useless assistants who could not teach. Right, and these children were eager to please him. They were teaching one another. They felt very empowered because they were also teaching, and teaching and learning, reinforced learning. So lots of things was happening, and he started meticulously documenting all of this, and he published a book on this called the Madras Monitorial System. He was taken to Europe, and so he went back home. He was a celebrity because he started implementing that in England, and then that moved to Europe, and that's where. And then he writes that this is the steam engine of education, because now the West could be educated. So this is even bigger than the steam engine, because now you could educate the whole of the West to be productive people for the Industrial Revolution.
Okay.
Right? So he says this is even bigger than the steam engine, because this is what is going to power our economy. So the King George, they all recognize this. In fact, he has in one of the pages here, they have a monument, in Westminster Abbey for him.
Acha.
Yeah, right here on this page 307, right? See, they have this monument.
Okay.
In Westminster Abbey, okay, honoring Andrew Bell to come up with the Madras Monitorial System. Now, meanwhile, there's a guy called Lancaster who's a Quaker, who steals this idea from Bell. So there's a second digestion. So once we've taken, and then this guy, and then they both have a fight, because Lancaster is similar. He also calls it the Joseph Lancaster Monitorial System, and they both fight, and then that's where it comes out that it's actually the Madras Monitorial System, which came from India. It's actually neither of yours, but anyway. So there is a little fight that goes on. And since Lancaster cannot do it in England, he takes it to the New World in America.
Okay.
And the whole of New York is now Joseph Lancaster becomes a huge person in America, because now America is being educated, and whole of New York is educated, and then the New World. So these kinds of systems still exist. Yeah, there are gems like this to educate the masses that still exist in India today. They came from India and educated the world. Just not content, but pedagogy, methods of learning. Now, and so I point out I talk about the Panini Shodh Samsthanam, where I've sent my own two boys for Vyakaranam. So it's run by one 83-year-old Pushpa Dikshit Mataji. Yeah, 83. She has her husband who's 93 years old, whom she looks after. And at any given time, there are 40 to 50 students, starting from the age of 5 to 50 or even higher. And these people come from China, from Heidelberg, from US universities, and from local Bilaspur, from Vrindavan, from Patashalas in UP, Sagar in Madhya Pradesh, places like that, unknown places. They all come there. And when I first visited, when I dropped off my son, I used to wonder at 7 o'clock in the morning, after they all finish their daily chores of getting ready for puja, cleaning whatever they need to clean, all of that, right? Bathing, they'll be huddling in little groups, And I used to think, what are they doing early morning? Like, Mataji is doing her thing, but they're all like studying, and so I would ask Ashok, saying, what are you studying like by yourselves? He said, no, we have to study and, do revision and learn from each other and all of that. And then when I read this and I said, this is what it is. This is our monitorial system working. Because what Mataji does is, she teaches students, and those students teach the others. And then her job is to make sure everybody's progressing at a reasonable pace. So she will spot quiz, call two kids that have not understood and explain some things and then send them back into their groups. And so she's all the time, keeping an eye on what's going on while running the house and running the Gurukulam. And then all of them. So she has come up with, so that is one thing, the monitorial system of how she's, running her Gurukulam. But she also has her own pedagogy of teaching Panini Vyakarana. So what takes 10 years to sort of get a grasp of the Ashtadhyayi through the Siddhanta Kaumudi system. She has her own Paushpika Prakriya, through which she can give you a good handle in 1 year. So a 10-year, pedagogy has been reduced to 1 year through her methods.
Oh my God.
And
this is tremendous.
And she does Vidyadanam and Annadanam at the age of 83. And with, she's a professor from, she and her husband are professors. They use their pension money and house these in their own house.
Okay.
Right? So there are still people like that who do Vidyadanam, Annadanam, innovative techniques, of pedagogy, all of that. And we just don't know them. We don't honor them. We have to. So in India, there are many such people who are doing work, who need to be given support. These ideas need to be institutionalized, spread to everybody, and recognized.